Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, The Vibes Inside. I am Mariana and I'm just going to share a little bit today. Well, I've been thinking a little bit about this. Everything I do on my channel has to do with yin and yang usually. I've had a lot of yin and yang cards come up in my readings also. It's like, and I've actually had the audacity in some of my readings to say that we have to get over ourselves. I think we do. I think we are in a evolutionary state that is, as I said before, like a toddler. Like we are, and we are not aware that that's maybe the biggest problem, that we're not really aware of it. I'm going to talk today about ease and dis-ease, or comfort versus discomfort. You just take if you tune into this and you somehow that this turned up in your feed, maybe just listen, right? At least in my own awareness, I have realized that I could live most of my day in a discomfortable state unless I become very aware of it. It's like we are not very good at remembering ease. We are very good at tuning in on dis-ease or discomfort or things that don't align with us, but I don't think that we remember that there is another side as well of this existence. And now I'm just really going to bring up like a stupid or maybe a bit weird example, but just go with it, because this is for literally everyone out there. Everyone will be able to do this, no matter your circumstances. So during your day, you will have several feelings of either ease or dis-ease. But we are rarely considering or even remembering or even appreciating the ease that is available. So let me just give you this example, right? You have to go to the bathroom, like really much. You can't really hold it in much anymore, right? That feels uncomfortable. That is discomfort in the body. When you actually sit on the toilet and you do have your release, this is a moment of release and ease, right? This is a moment where you actually get back to your balance. You actually get back to the, right, that feeling. But we rarely notice it actually. Like we are not good at, well, we may feel it just, like for these few seconds, and then our head is off again to the next thing. That when I have done this, when I'm done in the toilet, I have to continue my day with all these other things that I need to do. But do you take that moment? Like, do you treasure that moment? Or when you're hungry, right? You're really hungry, or you're very thirsty. You have to get something to drink. You get to the kitchen, you pour yourself a glass of water, but do you actually feel the ease when you drink it? Do you feel the ease in your body? Do you feel the balance that now comes when you do this. Like when you eat this food, and you may feel your blood sugar levels are equaling out, balancing and everything, do you take that moment to treasure it, to just remember how beautiful this is? I didn't. Like I didn't do that. I you could say primarily focused on what could be of discomfort for me. So I didn't take the time actually to celebrate or treasure the times that were in ease, where I was in balance, where I was comfortable, where I was actually maybe even where things was where life was nice, or maybe where I actually felt joy, or where I felt comfort, and like, you know, like when you feel comfort, it's like life embraces you. Like this is that moment where life is rich. It's a moment where life is rich. I know I just gave you some maybe weird examples, but these are literally for everyone to take, no matter your social status or your money status. You can live in the most oppressed country in the world. You can live in the most, like, maybe it's like areas with poverty, and you will then definitely get an ease out of drinking or eating, or an ease out of going to the toilet, right? Then there are many other levels, of course. I don't know what ease is for you. I think for some people, ease is like peace and calm, and like slow, and like slowing down, and peace and calm, and resting and rejuvenating. But I also think for others, ease can come from, for instance, not feeling bored, right? So when a new idea comes, or when a new adventure shows itself, or a new feeling comes in, that can be a sense of ease also, right? So you have to figure out what ease is for you, but at least everything that has to do with discomfort. So this can be like physical, your body is reacting to, it's either too cold or it's too hot, and then you either take a jacket on or you take one off, and then you feel ease, right? You feel a sense of better balance. And in that moment, like actually becoming mindful of it, becoming mindful that it is available. Ease is available all the time if we just see it. And this is where I feel like we have to get over ourselves. It's so easy to like be grumpy about the world, right? That something out there is not enough, or it's not doing what you want. It's not like, as I've said, some of the other readings here, it's not leaning or like towards you. It's not comforting you in whatever they are doing, whatever society is and does, however your workplace is, or Monday morning getting out of bed, but you just came from the bed, right? You just remember, well, the alarm clock rings Monday morning, and maybe you don't feel like you want to get out But just remember that you were just given ease, right? You were laying in your bed still, in a place of ease. So it's not that it's not there, it's just that we sometimes forget it, right? As I even said in, well, some of the latest readings that I've done, that we take discomfort with us way too long. We focus on it way too long, so that we can't allow comfort to be present. I made this example of being at a workplace, and there was this incident with, let's say, a customer or a co-worker or a boss, where you just feel so like it's an unfair situation. Maybe you were criticized for something, it felt very uncomfortable in some way. And you can actually, even though this happened, maybe, let's say, now 2 hours have passed, but you may still think about it, right? It's still kind of alive somehow in you. You are keeping it alive. It can even go to the point, and even 5 hours later, when you're actually off job, you get out of the company, you sit in your car, you may still ruminate about this. Like, you may still feel like they are so unfair and everything is so such an idiot, or whatever you may be thinking. So you now sit in your car, which is your transmuting time back and forth towards job and home, right? This is actually your spare time, your leisure time. You are off work. So now you sit here, and if you are not careful, you think about things that could be done. Like, you could just leave it there, but because it was uncomfortable, or even unfair, or even overwhelming, it's like it's still processing in you somehow. Or just a simple thing like you get off work and it's raining, it's pouring down, and you just, like, really, my day has already been like shitty, and now this, or I have a flat tire or something, then it's like just, right? And yes, there probably will be moments like that, but there are also times of ease. Like, you can sit in your car, you can ruminate about this story and your flat tire. You're on your way home. In this moment, you have a choice. Do I want to let this continue? Like, do I want it to fill up my space, my heart, my feelings, my mind? Or do I want it to just go away? Because I could put on some music. I could and sit and jam to the rhythm. I could call a friend. Or I could book myself a massage appointment, because it would take my thoughts off something else. And I'm not saying we should run from our emotions or something like that. It's just becoming conscious about whether a situation is worth it, like to keep that alive. When we are sitting and ruminating there, we are feeding it. Like, the story gets attention. The uncomfortable feeling is fed. So it grows and grows and can become more and more and more. When you actually get home, it could have become even bigger, because you have been growing it, like, unless you become aware of it and you decide, no, It was uncomfortable. This is part of being alive here on earth. It was uncomfortable. It was a situation that didn't, it didn't align with me. It was against me, perhaps. It felt against me. But it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. It doesn't mean that you are not capable. It doesn't mean that from now life on is going to be miserable. It doesn't mean that you have done anything wrong. You probably haven't. It could have been a reactive boss because they have their life. They have things going on. They had a bad morning. They had a quarrel with the wife or husband. Maybe there is an unfair situation with a customer, but it doesn't mean that you're supposed to take it in, that it's supposed to invade your private space. From the transmuting in the car, you now walk into your home. If this story is still alive, you take it with you. When you come in, your husband or wife may pick it up. Are you all right, dear? Is something off? Is something wrong? And you may tell them, right? You may now blah, blah, blah. You may tell them about this story. You're now sharing something that is long over, but it's still living. It means that all the time you were sitting in your car and the time when you now get home, you are actually still in that space. Like you're still there somehow. But you're not, are you? You are actually you're off that place. You're not there anymore. You are now. Like you are in a now moment, and you can decide about that now moment. If something from that previous experience earlier on that day, or something from 10 years ago, should still be running the show somehow, should still invade your current state of being. This is where I feel like we have to get over ourselves. Like we have to become aware of this. Otherwise, you can accumulate, you could say, like negative experiences or trauma. And that's the only thing your mind is working with. It's the only thing your mind is constantly. You can speak to your wife and partner about this back and forth, right? They may, want to soothe you. They may want to help you. Maybe they don't agree with you, and you feel even more frustrated, right? So now you actually have a problem in your home also because of something at work. You're bringing a problem now into the awareness of your husband or wife or children, and they have nothing to do with it. They haven't done anything. But because they may not agree with you, or maybe they can't seem to, help you settle down, you may feel like now your husband is maybe suddenly the problem. Because he doesn't get me. He doesn't get that this is uncomfortable, right? So now you have taken something from a place that were work into your private place. You even take it with you when you go to sleep. I think that can happen for children that get bullied, for instance. Like they come home, they don't speak about it necessarily. They live with this inside themselves alone, perhaps. Maybe they cry a little bit, or maybe they have bruises and the parents are asking them what happened. And typically a father advice would be something like, you just have to stand up for yourself, boy. You mustn't allow them to do that. And yes, that is correct. But if he doesn't or she doesn't know how to do that, they have just been overwhelmed by something. When you are overwhelmed, you usually yield. Otherwise, you're not overwhelming. Then you're protesting. You go against it. If you have been overwhelmed and kicked to the floor, you have yielded. And when you have yielded, it's tough to become the rebel, like the one after, because you have already yielded once, right? You have already given in or fawned once. So a child like that can live with this. They can take it with them to bed, worry about the next day whether they would be bullied again. And this can now then continue. And it means that such a child never has ease. Like the mind, they should have, right? They are at home. They have come home from school. They are in the home. But they are not having ease as long as the mind keeps spinning over something. So a child doesn't know how to process this. They don't know how to get out of this. As an adult, we are even very bad at this ourselves, actually. At least in my opinion. Please correct me if I'm wrong, right? But if we are not careful, things from earlier on that day or yesterday or a week ago, or we have a tendency to remember the bad stuff. The amygdala in our brain, the fear center, is very heightenedly alert. I believe this is an evolutionary state we are in, like a toddler. Like a small child. We have, our brain really hasn't developed much. We have to become mindful, consciously aware of this. That we have a brain that is inherently programmed towards the negative. It has a certain point, like the fear center is supposed to warn us about potential threats out there. But we are not living in threat constantly. Well, some can be, of course, but most are not living in like direct threat every day. And when we are out of threat, we definitely have to be aware of it so that we can allow ease in. Otherwise, we'll never feel any kind of balance. Life will only be hard. It will be difficult. It will feel like it's unfair. It's a bad world. We can't trust anyone. Everything is shit. Everything is... But you are not... It's because we are not actually appreciative or even attentive to the times when ease is actually there, when comfort is there, when nice is there, when joyful is there, or happy is there. So we can keep on like having this spin of thoughts that... And this is where I feel like we have to get over ourselves. Like I know that it sounds really maybe like presumptuous and everything, but what I mean with it is that we have to become conscious about it. Like becoming conscious about... You can even say how often you feel discomfort during a day. How often do you feel discomfort? And that it somehow affects your mood. It affects like the flat tire, the rainy morning, Monday morning, right? You have to get out of your cozy warm bed, which is actually ease. But we take that one for granted, right? We don't appreciate or celebrate that, do we? No, we don't. Like it's the things that potentially could be nice. We are not really giving it any attention. When we feel balance, it's just you would say the lack of discomfort. Like when we are in balance or when we feel ease, We are just now in lack of discomfort. But we are not really like becoming like appreciative. I know, well, it may sound, I don't know, I have just been thinking about this, that I've never really thought, well, there are nice times, it's your birthday, you get presents. Yeah, could maybe be a jolly time for a moment, right? And then there's all this else that normally is there. But there is actually ease available every day. You just have to become conscious about it and literally appreciate it. Like when you go to the bathroom next time. Like just take this second or two where you're actually just appreciating the ease that comes after the discomfort of holding it in, to now you can let it go, right? I know this may sound, but this is where you're putting in a seed of more comfort in your life, or more ease or peace or release or a relief in your life, right? Think about the time, every time let's say you feel a discomfort and you do something to get the ease back or get the comfort back. You put on a jacket because it's cold. Well, then maybe just in that moment be appreciative that you have that coat you can put on. How great that is, because now you get more ease back. Now there is a different balance. But we don't, do we? We don't think about that in that, we don't think about life in that way. No, I just have to get my coat on. And then it's like, we forget about it. Just think about this for a moment, because this can be people also. Let's say you are really angry one day, or you are uncomfortable one day. You say it to a friend, and they're actually quite accommodating. They're saying, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you felt that way. Can I somehow help you? Do you want a cup of coffee? And you say, yeah, that would actually be nice, right? And it's nice to be heard and, understood. But then after you have had your coffee, you may leave, and you get to your car, and there is a parking bill, or some like a car parking refine bill, and then you're back. Okay, right? But you just had a moment of ease. But sometimes we forget about it. We even forget about friends like that. We forget about people who are actually nice to you. I know there is this saying that nice finishes last, and being a nice guy don't give you the hot girlfriend or something. Like, why do nice guys finish last, for instance? It's because we don't care. We don't put attention on nice. We don't give it a... It's such like... Because deep down we want it. Like deep down we want to feel the ease. We want to feel the balance in whatever way that is for you. We do want it. But when it's there, we take it for granted. We don't put value on it. We are not. And this is what I feel like we need to start putting value on that. Because deep down, it's probably what you want. But all of us, we somehow head on, we run into problems. We want the ease, but all we do is running it towards the problems. We are seeing only problems. We are scanning only for problems. We don't scan for nice. We don't scan for balance. Well, maybe you do, but then it's because you have like me, you have actually become aware of it. Otherwise, you're not scanning for it. If there's balance, it just is, and you're not even, like, you're literally not seeing it. Then life is just comfortable, and we don't even, it's like, yeah, you get my point, right? I guess you get my point now. Like, it's, but just think about how much time and effort and energy you can use on thinking and scanning and being aware of something that is uncomfortable. What if we took the same amount of energy and put it on something, becoming aware of the things that are actually comfortable in our lives? When I sit in my car, I'm quite light sensitive in my eyes, right? I always wear sunglasses. They live on me, these sunglasses here, right? I'm very appreciative of my sunglasses. Otherwise, I can't drive a car. I literally can't see anything. I'm sitting like this, right? I can't see anything. So a simple thing like my glasses here, they transform my life entirely. It's a bit like, before glasses were invented and people started to have eyesight problems, they became the weak link in the herd, right? Because they couldn't, they couldn't move in the same way as the others. So if you have some kind of, let's just say, a disability, and you need some kind of tool every day that you use, let's say you have dyslexia and you have some kind of computer tool that helps you. If you have used this tool for the last 15 years, you are not even thinking about it. It just is there. But actually become conscious about how it helps you. What would life be like if you didn't have it for you? Right? How would my life be like if there were no sunglasses? And just think about the items that are available out there that can like help off a problem, but also are maybe just, like fashion items. But just think about how many things are actually available. When you walk into a grocery store, it's not like when you get in, they only have 3 items there. Potato, pear, and I don't know, potato, pear, and cheese. Let's say there were only 3 things available in your grocery store. These are the only things you can get. Just think about how much stuff there's in there for you to decide what you want. How much do the grocery stores try to accommodate each and everyone's need? You go to the cereal area, right? How many different kinds? There's not just one. And still we can be, like if our favorite is sold out, we can be, that's inconvenient, right? Or that's inconvenient, I want this one, right? Then we become like, and probably we choose another one, but it's like, no, it's not my favorite, right? It's not the one I want. But just think about it for a moment. There are 20 you can choose from. Chips, potato chips, or with all kinds of flavors, candy with all kinds of flavors. When you go to the fruit area, there are maybe 20, 30 kinds of different. Some are ecological, some are not, or organically produced. In what way? You can have big lots, you can have small lots, you can have, you can choose yourself, you can pick them out yourself. How abundant that is. But I don't think we look at it like that. We take it for granted that it's there. Like the variety of something is taken for granted. To the point where we are not really appreciating it. We just expect it to be there. Everything that is convenient and nice and accommodating and comforting, and we take it for granted. But maybe we shouldn't. Like, maybe we should actually become appreciative of it, because that's the part of life that is more, that actually allows you to feel that you are connected with something that is good. But somehow we have our focus on everything that is bad somehow, or not okay, or not all right, or you listen to the news and now they talk about changing tax or raising taxes, or certain help is not available anymore, or you're disagreeing with what the politicians are saying. Like, it's something you can't change necessarily. But this other thing that I talk about, you can change in your own mind. Like, you can, this is where I feel like we have to get over ourselves. Like, we are like, like a bit like spoiled children in that way. We are not really. In the store I go to, we have like exotic fruit that is not possible to grow in the country I live in. And I take it for granted that it's there. But it has had a long way to my country. The transport and the ability to actually have that fruit, like banana, in my store. It's everywhere. Bananas are everywhere. But it's not originally Danish, right? We have different original, you could say, foods here where I live. And I could easily I could easily forget about that, right? I can easily forget about the inconvenience the banana has probably gone through from coming from its original country to my little store in Denmark. I forget about the inconvenience. I just think that that I can take it for granted that I can buy this stuff. But maybe we shouldn't, right? Maybe we should actually, when you get into a store, you can look around how much that's there in a bakery shop, how many different kinds of bread there's there to accommodate you, right? And you and you and you. We are trying to accommodate not just a need for bread, but for the bread, like that particular pumpkin seed bread or something. Because that's my favorite. We all want our favorite. We all want the favorite. And we get a bit annoyed if it's not there, or, oh, how inconvenient, right? That it's not there. But when it's there, you buy it and you don't think about it then. Then you eat it, you don't think about it. It's not like you sit, well, if you buy another bread, You will probably every morning when you slice yourself, or you make a slice of this bread, you will probably think, oh, it was, I would have liked my pumpkin seed bread, right? So again, you think about how it's not your favorite. But why aren't we celebrating then when it is your favorite? We should celebrate every day. We should celebrate. This is my favorite. This is the one that makes me feel good, or this is my favorite mascara or something. I should celebrate everything single day, that it's available, that it's here for me, that it accommodates especially my needs. Let's say it's gluten-free or lactose-free. It accommodates my needs, my particular needs. How amazing is that? But do we do that? I didn't. I haven't done that. I was, of course, I did enjoy some things, but they felt a little more like special. Like, as I said, if you have a birthday or something. But every single day you should celebrate the ease in your life. You should celebrate when you can have your favorite tea or something. Not just on birthdays, not just on... It's available every day. When you go to the toilet, when you lay under when you lay in your bed, under your comfortable warm blanket, right? And you have your favorite pillow. You should celebrate that. You should celebrate when you go to bed. You should celebrate, or whatever makes you feel ease or a sense of pleasantness or niceness, or when a person is nice to you, when you feel grumpy, maybe you should appreciate it, right? You should appreciate that someone is actually doing that, that they are putting, they are in that moment, they were available for you. They chose to be. They could have walked the other way, right? But they chose to be. I think maybe we should be a little more humble about the things that are actually around us. I said we should get over ourselves, and me included. I should get over myself, my own personal as I said, it feels a little bit like being a toddler, right? Like, I want this, mommy, right? And if I can't have it, I'm grumpy, or I'm dissatisfied, or you make me feel uncomfortable, right? We should take responsibility for how we feel, but also how we could make other people feel if we are kind of just projecting things out towards them. And I also think we should become like humble about the things that are actually available. How much society or the matrix and earth is providing. You can just look around your city. Everything there is provided by earth. The bricks is somehow made of some kind of component here on earth to build that house. Your bike is made out of a certain kind of metal and rubber and things like that, which is available here on earth. Try to think about how much earth is doing. Pachamama is trying to make available for us. And you can have not just one bike, there are many kinds. With all kinds of colors and gears and from cheap ones to very, very expensive ones. How much you can become attached to a certain lifestyle, and if you can't have that lifestyle for some reason, or something happens to your Tesla, or something happens to you have a break-in in your apartment, how invasive that feels somehow, and how destructive it feels in your life that you take for granted. Every time you come home and your apartment is intact, you should be celebrating. It's ease. You have ease. I know it sounds really, but to get ourselves out of a way of thinking that everything is just shitty, like a shitty new week of work or something, and flat tires and rainy weather and parking refines or something. You know, instead of focusing on that, we could focus on something else, or at least become aware of both. Yeah. It's because when you start focusing on something else, you know that, right? It becomes more and more. If you are in your 20s and you have met this beautiful man in your life, and you have decided you want kids, from the moment you start talking about it and you get off your pills, and you are kind of in this space where, well, maybe I could be pregnant tomorrow, right? Maybe I could. You start seeing pregnant women everywhere. And you know, like people with small babies, and you become aware of the the store that sells all baby equipment. Suddenly, and maybe you have passed by on the same street many times before suddenly this now sticks out to you. What you focus on becomes more, right? So it could be anything. If you, let's say you wanna like really fit up in your life, you wanna diet differently, you wanna shape your body, you wanna become maybe not a bodybuilder, but like really fitness hyped, shaped, then suddenly it's like your awareness is drawn to the new fitness center there, and you could have passed by it many times before. Suddenly you become aware of the guys on the street that actually do have this broad built muscle kind of arms and everything. You look more on you look more towards your own body. That every time you have been training and every time you have talked to a personal trainer, perhaps you become aware of how does it look, right? You buy, fitness clothes, you may buy certain equipment at home, and you see it in the street picture. It's like your awareness now becomes sharpened towards people that look like they are fitness shaped or something like that. I just believe that when you sharpen your focus towards something, and this now becomes a desire or something that you really you have a lot of focus on it, you now it suddenly stands out from every life that is around you. It stands out. Let's say you want a pet, you want a pet dog, and maybe you've been wanting this for a while, and for a period of time you suddenly, literally, only see dogs everywhere. You're figuring out what kind of dog, and you see different dogs when you take a walk down the street. Now you realize how many of your neighbors who have dogs, and you haven't really thought about that before. You know, it's something like that. It could be that, let's say you're interested in a certain person and they have a certain look. Maybe they have, you know, like they wear a cap or they have beard or something. And it's like every time you see someone with a beard like that or a cap like that, and they just slightly look, it's like you look again, whether it could be them. Again, correct me if I'm wrong here. I'm just saying that if you live a life where you feel unhappy, you feel like something is missing, you feel like it's just shitty Mondays, it's all routine, it's the same, everything blah 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 is the same, well, maybe become aware of that, like that you may have your focus on something that is uncomfortable in your life, but there is something comfortable also. You just have to like become aware of it. It is available there. But usually it's just because the things that are available that makes us feel at ease and comfortable, we are not even registering it. And I think as souls incarnating here, and now it's more spiritual, right? But when we are only consciousness and souls, and we come from source, from where it is, wherever it is, we come from source, and source is oneness, perfect balance of everything. This is actually what we want. This is what we want back to or reclaim. We want it in our lives here. So we incarnate here, we get a body, which is highly inconvenient as a soul, because the body needs maintenance. It needs sleep, it needs food, it needs shelter, it needs release, as I said with the bathroom. The body has a lot of requirements. And a soul is not used to that. This is really weird for a soul to be in a body. The body has animalistic instincts of survival, threat, and it has reproduction needs. It has certain, like, very different experience. It's a finite being that has a birth and death, where the soul is infinite consciousness. So being a soul in a body is a weird experience where you are constantly meeting up with uncomfortability. Something that is uncomfortable, that is not oneness. We do want the oneness, but when we actually experience it, we take it for granted. And I think that's one of the reasons why soul even come here, why we even incarnate. It's because we get so comfortable, like that oneness experience is so comfortable that we take it for granted. So we come here to experience the difference. But we get caught up in the difference. We get caught up in the problems. So we're not even aware of the ease, where we are actually in balance, where we actually feel balance. No, we focus on the problems because we want it gone. Like we actually want to shove it away. So we focus on how to get it off our backs somehow, how to get it away from us, so that we can have ease. And when we have ease, we don't even think about it. We think about the next problem that comes. Does it make sense? And even again, correct me if I'm wrong about this. And of course you can do whatever you want, and I will also forget from time to time to be constantly mindful, because I don't think that we are designed to be constantly mindful like that. I just think that if you put in the seed, you become a little bit aware that every time you sit in the bathroom, you just take 2-3 seconds to think about maybe how grateful you are for that release, because it allows you to feel ease again and balance, just for a moment. You have put in a little seed. If you do that every day, it can grow to more, like you become more aware of the things that give you discomfort and the things that give you comfort. And it means that you can choose more of it. You can choose more of it. And become aware of this other thing that, but this is, we have innately and inheritedly been programmed to this. Like, this is how our ancestors have lived. We all have this brain that is highly controlled still by the amygdala and the reptile brain. All these processes that go on here highly relate to old times where things were scarce and things were not like they are today. Today we are actually literally overflown with products and things you can get to satisfy all your needs. But we are still, even more so perhaps, not satisfied. Even though you can go into the grocery store and you can pick out from 5,000 items or something like that, or more, maybe much more, you can pick out precisely what it is that you want, because that makes you comfortable. That is what you want to eat. That is what you want to have. And others, they pick something else because that's what they want to have. Isn't that amazing? Right? But we don't even take it for granted. Otherwise, we wouldn't have grocery stores. We would all be provided with the same 3 items: potato, pear, and cheese. Nothing else. That would be a cheap, way of getting nutrients to the public. We wouldn't have so much food waste. It would be a very economical way of feeding us. Maybe not very satisfying for us. Like if you hate potatoes, pears, and cheese, you would probably feel uncomfortable by that. But it would be an economical way of keeping us alive. But we can choose between so many things. I know that there could be people that live in very remote areas or areas with poverty. Of course, I'm aware of that. But if you live in a Western world, there are so much you can choose from. And still we are not satisfied. Still we feel, yeah, I was looking for shoes the other day, right? And I couldn't find, I tried on 50 pairs, but I didn't feel like it was the right one. 50 pairs. Because it has to fit perfectly right. It has to be the favorite one, the special one, the one that creates perfect balance. That's actually what we want. But when we get it, it only lasts for... because we have no attention on it. We're not celebrating it. We don't give it. We're not feeding that story. No, we feed the other one. We feed the other story of how uncomfortable life is. And yeah, I got those perfect shoes here the other day for my birthday, but now I'm wanting these, or now I'm looking for this, or it only lasts for a very little time because we're not celebrating it. We're not feeding it. We don't keep that story alive. We're not celebrating. We should celebrate every single day. We should celebrate breathing. Like if you can't breathe, you feel like you're choking. It feels very uncomfortable, right? So breathing every day is ease. It brings balance. It brings ease to our life. We take it totally for granted. I know, like, well, I'm aware that this sounds a little bit, but this is literally for everyone. It doesn't matter about your financial status or anything. If you can celebrate breathing, celebrate eating, drinking, going to the toilet, having the comfort of having a bed to sleep in every night. This can be for everyone. You can start there. And then next time you get into a grocery store, you can actually take a look around and just think about how much there's here for us to choose from. And we are still not happy. Because we are not feeding the right story. There's this saying in shamanism that there are 2 wolves you can feed in your awareness. Like, and I'm just giving you like these examples, like you can feed one wolf that has its total awareness and focus on everything that's uncomfortable. Or you could feed another one that actually embraces abundance, that looks for all the beauty in life. And I'm not in a beauty fashion way, but the comfortable, the pleasant, the nice, the easy or the comfortable in life. Which one do you feed, right? And when you put in the seeds towards that, it will grow. It will grow. And you will become more and more attentive of celebrating the things that actually are giving you balance, giving you, that actually does align with you. You can be happy about your gloves, right? Because in the winter times, they keep your hands warm. So celebrate your gloves. I know it sounds maybe a little bit, but do you get my point of that? Most of us celebrate the other. That's how we have been programmed. We grow up with this awareness. We don't really grow up with the other one. We just take that for granted somehow. And we are always aware of fighting or being somehow involved or enmeshed in the stuff that is uncomfortable or even threatening, right? And we have our awareness of this because we want it gone. We want it gone so that we can have our ease. And when we have our ease, we're not aware of it, or only for a short period of time. But we should celebrate everything that is comfortable. So we should feed the right wolf, or feed the right story. That is going to change your perspective about the life you live. It will take you away from the cold Mondays or the rainy weather. You will focus on, yes, it's rainy weather, but I have this beautiful car I can sit in, and I'm dry in there. I can even put the heat on and listen to music. How convenient, how beautiful is that? So when you sit in the queue Monday morning on the highway and you're frustrated that they are not moving, then celebrate your breathing. You know, like when things are not working out for you in a certain way, remember that there are other times where they are working out. Does it make sense? And when we start putting in those seeds, I think they could be very good new building blocks actually to take with us forward, because these are your building blocks, right? This is your own private space. This is maybe an inner process. Maybe it's something you become aware of. It's your brain also. Like what is in your brain. I just made a video called something about what's in your container. So what's in your body, what's in your mind, like what is filling everything up. This is maybe like part 2 to that reading, right? Or to that message. It's like, become aware of what's in there, what you're feeding into. And I will forget also during the day. Some of this, of course I will, if I'm in a stressful time. But eventually I will remember again. And I will say, oh, now I actually have leisure time. This is my time. I decide now what I want to be there. Or around me perhaps, right? If I want a massage, I should do that. If I want like a quiet time with a good book, do that. And just be like, you sit there with your blanket and fire in the fireplace, and you sit with your book in a comfortable couch or chair. Just treasure that moment, celebrate that moment, right? Like this is your perfect time. That is the yin to your yang experience at work, where you felt overwhelmed or it was unfair or something. Become aware that there is another thing available. When there is something shitty and uncomfortable, there is also comfort and ease somewhere else. We just have to become aware of it. This is my message. Yeah. What do you think, right? So just take care of yourself as always out there. I send you my very best for all of you. Love and light to you all. Bye-bye.